Philadelphia turned into something close to a carnival on Friday night, and by the time the final whistle blew, Brazil had done exactly what a five-time world champion is supposed to do against a team appearing at its first-ever World Cup. The scoreline read 3-0, but the story of this match was about a lot more than just goals, because for 90 minutes, two completely different football nations shared the same stadium, the same songs, and in many ways, the same dream, even if only one of them was walking away with the result they desperately needed. Let's set the scene first, because the build-up to this one mattered just as much as anything that happened on the pitch. Brazil had opened their World Cup campaign with a frustrating 1-1 draw against Morocco, the kind of result that immediately puts pressure on a team carrying the weight of 6 previous tournament wins and a fan base that measures success in nothing less than trophies. Haiti, on the other hand, walked into this match having lost their own opener 1-0 to Scotland, a tight, gritty performance that showed real character even in defeat. So this wasn't simply a giant against a minnow on paper. Both sides arrived in Philadelphia needing something from this game, and that gave the entire occasion an edge that the gulf in footballing history couldn't quite erase. What made the atmosphere genuinely special, though, had nothing to do with tactics or league pedigree. Before kickoff, both sets of supporters stood together inside the stadium and sang through both national anthems as one unified crowd, and once the music started afterward, something even more unexpected happened. Brazilian fans were dancing to Haitian songs, and Haitian fans were dancing right back to Brazilian rhythms, turning pre-match warm-ups into a genuine cultural exchange rather than the usual tense standoff you get before an elimination-flavored World Cup fixture. It's the kind of moment that reminds you why this tournament exists in the first place, win or lose. Once the actual football started, Brazil wasted no time showing their intent. Carlo Ancelotti sent his side out with Alisson in goal, a backline of Danilo, Gabriel Magalhães, Marquinhos, and Douglas Santos, with Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes anchoring the midfield in front of them. Lucas Paqueta played just behind the front line, flanked by Rafinha and Vinicius Jr., with Matheus Cunha leading the attack after coming into the side in place of Igor Thiago. Right from the opening exchanges, you could see Brazil pressing for an early goal that would settle the nerves and let them play with the freedom that this much individual talent usually demands. It nearly came inside the first quarter of an hour. In the 12th minute, the ball was worked into the box and Rafinha buried it into the net, sparking an instant celebration from the traveling support, only for the assistant referee's flag to go up for offside. The goal graphics briefly stayed up on the big screen at Lincoln Financial Field before being pulled back down, and for a moment, the crowd noise dipped as everyone realized the chance for an early breakthrough had slipped away. It was a sign of things to come, though, because Brazil kept knocking on the door, and eventually it had to give. That breakthrough finally arrived in the 23rd minute, and it came from exactly where you'd expect if you've watched any Brazilian football this year. Vinicius Jr. drove at the Haitian defense and slipped a pass through that the goalkeeper could only parry away rather than hold on to cleanly, and Matheus Cunha was the man waiting to pounce on the loose ball, sliding it home to put Brazil 1-0 up and finally release some of the tension that had been building since kickoff. It wasn't the prettiest goal of the night, but in a match like this, the manner of the breakthrough rarely matters as much as simply getting it. From there, Brazil's control of the game grew more comfortable, and 13 minutes later, in the 36th minute, Cunha struck again to make it 2-0 and complete his first half brace. With 2 goals in the bank for their new starting striker, Brazil suddenly looked like a side playing with the freedom that comes from knowing the result is no longer in serious doubt, and Haiti, to their credit, kept competing without ever quite finding a way to stem the tide. Vinicius continued to be the most dangerous man on the pitch all half, repeatedly running directly at defenders and forcing Haiti's backline into uncomfortable one-on-one situations they simply didn't have the experience to deal with consistently. Brazil weren't done before the break, either. Deep into first-half stoppage time, in the 45+3 RD minute, Vinicius Jr. got his reward for a dominant half by scoring himself, turning his constant probing into a third goal and sending Brazil into the dressing room with what was, for all practical purposes, the game already wrapped up. 3 goals before halftime against a side appearing at their first World Cup is about as emphatic a statement as you can make, and it meant the second half was always going to be played without the same urgency that defined the opening 45 minutes. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. The second half settled into a far quieter rhythm, with Brazil seemingly content to manage the game rather than chase a fourth or fifth goal that, by most accounts, could realistically have been there for the taking had they kept pushing with the same intensity. Lucas Paqueta continued to influence things from midfield until he was substituted in the 64th minute, and Ancelotti used the rest of the half to rotate fresh legs into the lineup, a sensible decision given how much football still lies ahead in this tournament for a team with genuine title ambitions. Haiti, for their part, handled the closing stages with one eye firmly on the bigger picture. Both Francis Pierrot and Carlo Cunha were already carrying yellow cards from earlier in the tournament, and rather than risk either of them picking up a second caution and a suspension, Haiti's coaching staff made the call to bring them off well before the final whistle. It's not the kind of decision that makes headlines, but it tells you everything about where Haiti's focus had shifted by that point in the match, protecting what they can for the final group game rather than chasing anything meaningful in a contest that had already gotten away from them. By full time, the numbers told a clear story without needing much embellishment. Brazil finished with 3 goals from 7 attempts on target, controlled just under half of the overall possession, and created the kind of inside-the-box chances that explain exactly why the scoreline finished the way it did. Haiti matched Brazil shot for shot in terms of total attempts but couldn't convert that effort into anything on the scoreboard, a familiar story for a team punching above its weight against 5-time world champions but still searching for that one moment of quality to make the gap on the pitch look smaller than it actually was. The result also did real damage to Haiti's tournament hopes. Combined with their opening defeat to Scotland, this loss leaves them without a point after 2 matches in Group C, and with Morocco picking up a 1-0 win over Scotland on the very same day, the path back into realistic contention for Haiti is all but closed, regardless of what happens in their final group fixture. It's a tough outcome for a nation experiencing this stage for the very first time, but simply being present on this stage, sharing a pitch in a stadium full of singing fans with a 5-time champion, is its own kind of achievement that no scoreline can fully erase. For Brazil, the picture looks considerably brighter. The win moves them level with Morocco at the top of Group C on goal difference after 2 rounds of matches, setting up what could be a genuinely decisive final group game between the two sides depending on how other results fall. More importantly, this performance answered some of the questions that had crept in after the underwhelming draw against Morocco in the opener. Matheus Cunha repaid Ancelotti's faith in starting him with 2 clinical finishes. Vinicius Jr backed up his reputation as Brazil's most dangerous attacking weapon with a goal and an assist, and the side as a whole looked far more fluid and dangerous once they settled into their rhythm in the middle of the first half. There's also a broader storyline running underneath all of this that Brazilian fans will be paying close attention to as the tournament progresses. This squad is chasing a 6th World Cup title, a number no other nation has ever reached, and every performance between now and the final will be measured against that ambition, fair or not. A comfortable, professional win over a well-organized but ultimately limited Haiti side won't silence every doubt that built up after the Morocco draw, but it does buy this team some breathing room and, just as importantly, some rhythm heading into the tougher tests almost certainly waiting in the knockout rounds. What will likely stick longest in the memory from this particular night, though, isn't really about tactics or even the scoreline at all. It's the image of 2 fanbases from completely different footballing worlds standing together before kickoff, trading songs and dance moves long after most people had stopped paying attention to who actually won or lost. Brazil got the 3 points and the goals they needed. Haiti got an experience that will shape young players and young fans back home for years to come, and World Cup football, for one night in Philadelphia, looked exactly like what it's supposed to be. There's a coaching angle worth mentioning too. Carlo Ancelotti took charge of this Brazil side carrying his own enormous reputation built almost entirely in European club football, and a tournament like this is really his first true test of translating that pedigree onto the international stage with a national team. A draw in the opener against Morocco invited the usual round of second-guessing that follows any high-profile managerial appointment, but a controlled, professional 3-0 win like this one, built on smart in-game adjustments and a clear first-half game plan that Cunha and Vinicius executed almost perfectly, is exactly the kind of response that quiets a dressing room and a press room at the same time. It's also worth pausing on what this match meant for Matheus Cunha individually. because a first-half brace on the biggest stage in football doesn't happen to just anyone. Cunha only got his chance in this lineup because Igor Thiago started the tournament opener instead, and there's always pressure that comes with stepping into a World Cup starting 11 for a team carrying this much history and this much expectation. Scoring twice in his first 23 minutes wasn't just about settling personal nerves, either. It gave Ancelotti a genuine selection headache going forward, the good kind of problem any manager wants heading into the business end of a tournament. Rafinha, for his part, will be replaying that disallowed effort in the 12th minute for a while, since strikers and wingers alike know how differently a match can feel once the first goal actually goes in rather than getting waved off by a flag. If you're enjoying this kind of World Cup breakdown, stick around and subscribe, because there's a lot more drama coming as the group stage winds down and the knockout picture starts to take shape.